about 3 kinds of honey, and the blood orange puree and all that stuff. And now I have 2 containers of blood orange. I'm kind of running a test on this as well. So this is my other container of blood orange. What I want to do is I just want to dry hop this one and then kind of compare the 2. So the way you dry hop, you can do it generally starting normally about 2nd fermentation. So this is way past that point. This has been sitting since blood orange was almost August. So it's been sitting for a couple months now as is. But it's still okay for me to add this extra flavors, and I want to do that because the citrus in this blood orange is not popping out as much as I want. And so this will help give some citrusy flavors. This is Falconer's Flight, and the Falconer's Flight is a citrus hop. And the way you do this is real simple. You can either put your hops into a muslin bag like this, a muslin bag, or like maybe some cheesecloth. So what I'm going to do is actually take and wrap all this stuff into this cheesecloth, and then kind of tie this and just stick it straight in. Basically, maybe, I don't know, I've got to figure out if I want to do that or not. It might just be simpler to actually take and put it straight in, and then they'll fall down to the bottom. I think I'm just going to do that. That way you don't have to pull this bag out. It'll be kind of a pain to try and pull that bag out effectively. Maybe. I don't know. I'm still trying to think about that. But ultimately, this is 1 ounce, and I don't want to use all of it. I want to use about half of it for this. So I'm going to use half of this and then save the other by putting it into a Ziploc and then freezing it actually, and I can keep it alive for a couple months. So let me get half of my hops ready. Okay, so this is half of my hops right here. I'm going to try my little bag idea first before I just chunk it in. I don't know if this will work. I'm just going to try. It might make it easier for ultimately pulling it all out. So what if I... Okay, so I think this will work. It's kind of like a Tootsie Roll. And basically I'm just going to stick this in here, and I'll be able to pull it out in the end. So now I'm going to stick that in, make sure it gets kind of into the mead. And really the thing with dry hopping is now I'm going to let it set and probably, I'm going to taste it of course, and let it kind of get new flavors for the next little bit. So probably a week, and I'll taste it and see how it is. If it's, I kind of actively taste it. If it's really popping, if it's really strong immediately, then I'll take it off quick. But if it's not, then I'll let it sit. Ultimately, I want to get this hop, this Falconer's Flight flavor that the hops are going to give back in. So that is the end of this video. It's really quick. There's a quick one. Basically, I just wanted to show you guys how to dry hop something, and I can go into another process with it in the future. This was a quick version. There are different ways, different hops, different million things, variables in the world. Okay, so the blood orange mead has sat with its dry hops in it, which was the Falconer's Flight, now for 10 days. So what I want to do is actually take and move it into a new carboy, and then we're just going to take the dry hops out and give it a taste test and see. I've been taste testing it along the way to see where it's at, so as of like 2 days ago I kind of know where it's at, but I also want to share with you guys what I think now that we're 10 days into dry hopping. So let's get started. We'll go ahead and move it over into a new carboy. Okay, so I have moved it over, and what I have left is basically a carboy that has a little sediment in it, has some extra stuff, and then the bag, which will just come straight out, which hopefully will come straight out pretty easily. And of course I have a little sample of it. So this little sample, it's like decently clear. It's hard to get to focus, but it's decently clear right now, and I'm kind of curious to see if it'll clear out a little more over time. I can tell you the smell of it is very hoppy, as it should be because it's dry hopped. but it really kind of accentuates the orange, which is what I wanted. This is the blood orange mead, and so I wanted to try and accentuate that, make that blood orange come out more, that flavor come out more. So just by smell, it smells kind of like a beer, and I kind of like that. You know, I'm not normally a big IPA guy, but this is pretty nice smelling. Now I'm gonna give it a taste. Ooh, yeah, that's it does have that beer kind of flavor. It's dry. One thing I'd like to do is cold crash this now, and just to make sure there's to kill any yeast that could be living, because I'd like to back sweeten, and then I also have I'd like to give it some more blood orange kind of flavor. And the way I'm going to do that, I used a puree before. This time I'm actually going to use this natural flavoring, which is, let me find it. It's this natural flavoring. It is from this Brewer's Best company. It's really good. I really like it, and it's a natural blood orange. But what it does is it basically simulates the taste of blood orange. In that, while it's not perfect, like I'm not using real blood oranges, I'm getting kind of a quote faker flavor. I'm not going to use a lot, just enough to help it give a little more of that blood orange to pop out, to work with the hoppy flavor, and then maybe some honey. And so I think that'll really round this thing out. It's got this nice, it's got the backside of a blood orange, so it's a little bit kind of bittery, but it's not necessarily bad. Honestly, it's really good. It reminds me of an IPA, and I kind of like that. I do like this in this case, of course, maybe because I made it. It's more to my liking than normal. So what I'm going to do now with it, because like I said, I want to cold crash it to try and get it to be able to get rid of all any yeast that can be still alive. I'm going to cold crash it, go ahead and of course clean out the carboys, whatnot, and then we'll see in a little bit if I can go ahead and back sweeten and go through that process. Okay, it's been about 6 days, 7 days since I finished dry hopping this one. Now I have two blood orange meads. This one was dry hopped, which is the one that a lot of this video has been about, and it's the fuller one, of course. But then there's also this one right here, which is kind of like my leftover, my remnants. And this one has not been dry hopped. So I've got a little taste test of both, and we're trying to finish up these meads. Which means that I might end up back sweetening, kind of just gonna see what happens. So I want to taste them and see how they are. I can already tell this one's dry hopped. You can smell the hops, really IPA-y, kind of interesting. You don't get as much of that character with it. So, or the non-hopped. So let's try the non-hopped first. Oh wow. That was really interesting. The blood orange flavor really is kind of popping through quite a bit. It's got a semi-sweet, I kind of like it as it is, actually. I was thinking like, man, I'm gonna have to back sweeten these, but yeah, I like that as it is. Like not necessarily back sweetened. Wow, that's pretty good. Okay, let's try the dry hopped. It's got, this one's medium bodied, probably 12 to 14%. Really smooth. You get the blood orange, the citrusy, the dark citrus taste, and it's just really interesting. Here's the hopped version. So you get a lot of the same flavors. You get the hopped, the IPA-y kind of taste. It's got a little bite. Both of them have a kind of a bite in the beginning, which is different. It's still smooth, but the bite, like it's just a quick thing and then it goes away. But I kind of like it because it makes it really interesting. Yeah, so both of these are still, they're not really, they're not dry. They're probably a little bit above dry and a little sweet. But I feel like I need to back sweeten them a little bit. So what I want to do, I want to back sweeten with honey because I want to keep the same character, same flavor, and I'm not going to add a lot. I anticipated I was going to have to add a bunch to make it work, but I don't think I will. So ultimately, I'm going to add, so to my dry hopped one, I think I'll probably add, let's say, a quarter of a cup of honey, and that should help push it along. Now here's the thing though, since I'm back sweetening, I had to make sure that they were done fermenting. So what I did was I added potassium sorbate, and then I added potassium sulfite, and then I cold crashed it. So between the three things, and after I racked it over, between those three things, I believe that the fermentation is done. But what I'll do is I'll back sweeten, and then I'll go ahead and let it sit for a little bit just to make sure there's no further fermentation that takes over. And then if it's ready, I'll go ahead and bottle it, and then these will be done, and I can have my carboys back. But let's go ahead and back sweeten. I'm only going to back sweeten the dry hopped. I'm not going to back sweeten just the normal. So let's back sweeten the dry hopped version. Alright, we're ready to back sweeten with our honey. We're using, this is not Alpha Blossom, this is actually my honey from Dutch Gold. It is a clover honey, and what we're going to do is we're going to fill this little bit up. This is 1/4 of a cup. Okay, 1/4 of a cup, and we're just basically going to add it straight into the mead. Now this isn't the best way to do it. Honestly, it will work though over time. This is not as immediate of a result as just as doing some other things, but like I said, this is going to be a patience thing. So we're going to put this in real slowly, try to keep it from being super messy. And what we'll do with it afterwards is we will take and stir this carboy up a bunch, really lightly basically, to where we don't aerate anything, but trying to get the honey to meld in. And what we'll also find out quickly is that if you leave a mead as it is being back sweetened in, especially with honey, the honey actually starts to dissolve over time. So you don't have to sit there and stir for eternity. You can actually just kind of live with it and let it sit. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it sit. The honey will meld in. It will all be great, and hopefully not pick up any more fermentation. Okay, I have stirred lightly, and I'm trying to make sure to not get any oxygen involved into it. And I believe the honey is fairly well mixed in, and if it's not, we'll see quickly that over time really that the mead will kind of absorb the honey. So the next step is to wait and see if this one has any fermentation that occurs, anything that pops up, and then if it doesn't, I'll let it sit for a little while longer. It's not super clear, and I'll go ahead and say this. Some meads I really want to clear up. This mead, I don't care if it clears up. So ultimately, I'm okay with this staying as it is, which is kind of a murky color, because it doesn't need to be super clear. It can be as it is. So we're gonna wait a couple days and then come back to it, and we'll see how it's going. All right, so we're on the last part of the blood orange mead. We've dry hopped it. We have added some honey to it and back sweetened it. And while right now it's not very clear, honestly, clarity is important. But right now, I'd rather go for the taste. And it tastes how I want it to be. I could let this sit for a long time, but I have lots of other projects I want to do. I want to finish. So I'm going to go ahead and bottle it. And I know some people are going to disagree, and that's fine. But I'm okay with where it's at right now. I do want to take a final gravity, like I said, after I back sweetened, to see where it's at, because it dried itself out. So now it is sitting at, let's see, it's still dry. I think there's some back sweetening that's occurred, or sorry, some sweetness that's still in there, because I've tried it, and I'll even try it right now to tell you. It tastes really, really good. And let me grab a glass. So here's a little taste of it. It tastes a lot like an IPA because of the hops, but it's still got that sweetness that I like, and I'm pretty content with that, to be honest. Keeping it just like it is. It's got some sweetness to it. It's kind of like tastes very you can get the dark orange, flavor I've talked about a lot with this one. But it's a really good mix of bitter, quote, and sweet, and then the hops on top. Very IPA, very beer-like, but it's really good. And I want to bottle it like it is. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. And we have the hopped version, and then this is the unhopped version. And in a moment, I'll go ahead and do a taste test of this one to tell you about it. But this is just a small amount. And really, I wanted to go ahead and bottle that one because it's got such a big container that I want to get it off of the air. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So here is the bottling of this one. Okay, so I've gone ahead and bottled the portion that was dry hopped. Now I have in my hand right here, this is the portion that's not dry hopped. It's just the blood orange puree that I started with, and the honey and water, and then actually added some back sweetening on the end of it. So I need to take a gravity reading of that one, but first I'm gonna take a taste test. So here's the taste of the non-hopped. It's vastly different. It's not as sweet as I would want, frankly. I do think that the time that it's sat with so much air on top has definitely impacted it some, and I'm kind of worried about that, frankly. I don't want to necessarily give up on it, but I'm going to go ahead and bottle it and then put them to the side separate from the dry hopped versions, and we'll see if the changes at all, the flavor, but I can definitely tell right now it's going to be leveled out 1.00. There's no way that my honey and stuff did much to it, because they were really dry too. So now I'll go ahead and bottle the unhopped version. Alright, so I really only got 2.5 bottles of the unhopped, and I only got a half bottle here. I'm not gonna do anything with this other than drink it. I don't want to try and cap it or anything, so I'll leave those on the side right now. What I'm going to do is clean these up real fast, and then I'll talk about this siphon and how I bottled it. I forgot to mention in the beginning what some of this equipment is. So let me clean this up. Alright, so let me explain my equipment I used just now. I used an auto siphon, which pretty much most people know is just an easy way to go ahead and rack everything. It does all the work for you, auto siphons it out. Of course, hooked onto a tube. And then that tube is what hooks onto this. This is a bottling wand, and this bottling wand is really thin, and it has a little piece at the end that basically when you press down, it opens the wand to where you'll let any liquid in that's coming through. So, easy. This is stuff you need, at least for home bottling. If you're going to be a big brewing company, they do their own thing. So, I use this stuff, I highly recommend it, and if you want to buy it, you can go down, there's a link in the description to my website, to some Amazon links where you can actually buy this stuff through those links, and that helps support me. So, go check out my store, manmademead.com, and that will help me out. The next step is to go ahead and cap these, and I'm going to use 2 different caps, one for the dry hopped, the other for the non-hopped. Okay, here's my capper. I will be using, for the hopped ones, this orange cap. This one's really easy. I need to go ahead and attach this capper to like a piece of wood so I don't have to hold it down. It's a little sketchy right now, but it still works. So basically, just put the cap on, you squeeze down, and then it seals. Next thing you know, you have a bottle-capped bottle of mead. So, time to get the rest of these done. Alright, I have bottled each one. I have 2 of the hopped version. These are 187 milliliters, so it's a tinier, it's just an easy sample, and if I'm giving away gifts, it's really easy to do. I also have a bunch of, these are normal beer bottles, which are about 375-ish milliliters of liquid, and then I have, of course, my 2 that are just the 375 of the non-hopped. The next thing I'll do, and I won't do it on camera because it's really easy, I'll just go get my little label and make a fake label for right now to help me remember what these are. And then I have nice professional labels that I need to go print out. And whenever I print those out, I'll come through and put them on. It's really easy. But for now, I'm done. I have one last little bit of the non-hopped here, and I'll just go ahead and drink it, basically, and not worry about trying to bottle it to anything smaller. Just because it would be more of a pain, not really worth it. But I hope you've enjoyed this. This has been a big progress of this mead. Basically, you know, the blood orange was can't remember what month it was. It was a monthly mead a long time ago. And I wanted to try it. It's experimental. It's not super clear. Some people are going to be angry, but the truth is, clarity is not everything. The taste is everything. If you're trying to, if you're relying on clarity to save your mead, then you're not going to end up being very successful, to be honest with yourself. So, some people might disagree, and I understand. Anyways, I am excited it's done. Now I have 2 more gallon containers I can actually do something with, because I have about, I think 13 1-gallon carboys, and I could buy more, but then it's silly to me when I have more stuff I want to do. And I would love to let things age, and I will let things age, but little projects like this one can go ahead and move on. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and of course subscribe down below, and you'll get lots of new content. I am constantly making new meads. I'm constantly making new mead videos, like things like talking about my mistakes. I have a new thing called Man-Made Community, where Man-Made Mead Community, where you can come and join us as the community that we are. We want to talk about mead making and educate one another. We all have new experiences. We all have experiences that we want to share with one another, and I hope that you will be a part of that with me. So check out that's a Facebook. I have a Patreon where you can find exclusive content, exclusive before content, meaning the people who are patrons saw this video 3 or 4 days before it came out. And you too can be that way for $2 a month. There's also a $5 version where you get entered into a t-shirt drawing every month. The first of every month I draw a t-shirt, or I give out a free t-shirt to somebody of my $5 patrons. And then there's a last one where we can talk, and it'll be a thing. Anyways, check those out. I have a store, I have a website, I've got lots and lots of content for you guys, and I want to share it, and I need your help. That's just the bare truth behind it all. I need your help. This channel cannot run on me alone, and it won't, especially this community cannot run on me alone, because there's a lot to do, and you guys are wonderful. So thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you will check the links down below, and I'll see you guys in another video. So, cheers.